Well, it looks like we know what Marvel Studios is going to do for the final villain of the multiverse saga. There is a lot that has happened recently with Jonathan Majors being in court, being found guilty. Marvel Studios has officially decided to move on without Jonathan Majors, and it looks like both reports that we have received about the future of Kang the Conqueror are indeed true. Last week we talked about how two things are happening with Marvel Studios. One is that Avengers Kang Dynasty is not Avengers Kang Dynasty anymore, and that does seem to be the case. Right now over at Marvel Studios, it looks like they are just referring to it as Avengers 5 right now. However, at the same time, that doesn't mean Kang is completely done. According to reports, they are simply sweeping him under the rug for the time being, and he is indeed going to be returning in Avengers Secret Wars. However, it does seem like another villain is going to play a pretty prominent role in Avengers Secret Wars as well. And it does seem like Marvel Studios is going to kind of take a page from Marvel Comics for Secret Wars. So a lot to break down today. It also looks like we might have a rough release date for Avengers 5 and Spider-Man 4, which we'll talk about, of course, in this video. So if you're new, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on any of the latest videos. And if you subscribe and leave a comment, you're entered in our giveaway for a chance to win a PS5, an Xbox Series X, some Marvel Legends items, and some DC items. Winner picks one item. We pick one winner at the end of each month, and we're almost to the end of the month, so be sure to subscribe. So right away, let's just hit you with the Avengers 5 and Spider-Man 4 news. It looks like, according to insider Daniel RPK, Avengers 5 is not going to be filming until late 2024 this year. This is good news because right now, Avengers the Kang Dynasty is slated for May 1st of 2026. So the fact that they are starting filming and production a year and a half before the movie's release date is really, really good news. That gives them a lot of time to really get things down, like the visual effects. Plus, not to mention, it looks like the story kind of has to be either scrapped or drastically changed since Kang the Conqueror is no longer going to be the villain of the movie titled The Kang Dynasty. So obviously, a lot of changes are going to be happening to Avengers 5. So it's really good that they have a lot of time before the actual release date of the movie. This means that the release date probably won't change, and they'll stick to May 1st, 2026. Now, according to Daniel RPK, Spider-Man 4 is not going to begin filming until 2025, which some people have found confusing, but keep in mind, Spider-Man 4 has always been reported to be released between Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars. It's not supposed to come before Avengers 5. This way they can work in a multiverse story a little bit better, since they'll be further along into the story in the MCU. So the Spider-Man 4 release date is most likely looking at the end of 2026, because it has to come after Avengers 5. But this is actually pretty good news because a lot of people were expecting some pretty big delays following Jonathan Majors being found guilty and being released from Marvel. But right now it looks like things are still on schedule, which is great news. Now, diving into Kang a little bit more, we've always known that the final villain of Secret Wars was going to be some type of Beyonder variant. Insiders have been pretty vague about what exactly to expect. However, it looks like we might finally know how exactly the Beyonder and Kang are going to come into play in Avengers Secret Wars. Now, before we thought it might have been a Kang variant who is the Beyonder, but right now it's looking like the Beyonder could simply be himself. And we could be looking at a very comic accurate Beyonder Secret Wars story here. Now, it looks like Marvel Studios has a very specific purpose for the Beyonder and for Kang in Secret Wars. And it looks like they are kind of going to be using this as an excuse to recast Kang. That's at least what the insider My Time to Shine Hello stated on December 25th, yesterday. She tweeted another one, as in another scoop. The Beyonder is still the main villain for Secret Wars. That will be their excuse to recast Kang. Then to top it all off, Alex Perez, another insider from thecosmiccircus.com, retweeted this tweet simply stating, "Yup," meaning he's heard the same thing. So right off the bat, this does tell us that Kang is indeed going to be staying in the MCU. They are indeed going to push him to the side for a little bit, but he'll return in a pretty big way in Avengers Secret Wars, and of course, he'll be recast. Now, quick side note, a lot of people are asking, well, what if Jonathan Majors appeals and what if he wins? Will Marvel Studios and Disney then take him back? And that really is an excellent question, especially since Marvel Studios and Disney have taken people back before. The perfect example is James Gunn. They fired him, but then he came back to direct Guardians Volume 3. So just based off of that case with James Gunn, could it be a possibility? Yes. Is it likely? I don't believe so, but anything is possible. But for right now, according to all of these insiders, it looks like they are indeed trying to recast. And if they recast before Jonathan Majors appeals and before he could possibly win, then I think they're going to stick with who they chose to replace Jonathan Majors, because that option in their eyes could be less problematic. Although I'm sure fans are going to be up in arms if Jonathan Majors wins his appeal and isn't hired back by Marvel Studios. Now, Alex Perez from the Cosmic Circus hinted at what the story for the Beyonder and Kang is going to be in Secret Wars, and honestly, it sounds pretty cool. And if you're a Naruto fan, you're gonna like this. A Twitter account online posted this: I have a feeling that they're going to pull a Kaguya with the Beyonder. And Alex Perez basically confirmed that this is indeed what they're going to do by replying with this. And if you think about it, it makes a lot of sense and is basically comic accurate to Secret Wars. Now, I'll explain what this is for those who don't know. In Naruto, they basically made a villain that was way too powerful for anybody to defeat. So a bigger villain was introduced to kill him, Kaguya. Kaguya was much more powerful, but she actually had greater weaknesses that the heroes could exploit. So essentially, she was more vulnerable. She was much more powerful, but actually was defeatable. And it looks like that could be what they're going to be doing with Kang and the Beyonder. So Kang could grow to be way too powerful for anybody to defeat until the Beyonder steps in and defeats Kang himself. And then that's when the heroes step in to defeat the Beyonder, because in the comics, Doom takes the powers of the Beyonder and he becomes God Emperor Doom. But I think there could be a little bit of a twist here. I think the Beyonder could come in and defeat the Council of Kangs, but then I think a Kang variant could take the powers of the Beyonder, and that's how we get this Kang Beyonder variant that everybody has been reporting and talking about for a long time now. That way they make it to where Kang is still the villain that has been set up since basically the beginning of the multiverse saga with Loki season 1, when they introduced a variant of Kang, He Who Remains. Then of course Loki 2, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania. It would be nice to see Kang still be the final big bad at the end of this all, despite everything that's happened. So perhaps the Council of Kangs becomes too powerful for anybody to defeat, which makes sense. They are outside of space and time. They can control space and time. Their technology is really just beyond anything our Avengers have. And there's 3 of them working together who are super, super powerful. And we basically have already known that in Avengers, the Kang Dynasty, or Avengers 5, originally at least, the heroes were going to lose and the multiverse was going to start to truly fall apart. That's how we got our big multiversal team. The multiverse falls apart, the TVA grabs a bunch of heroes, they bring them all together from a bunch of different universes, then they go and they fight Kang the Conqueror, or the Council of Kangs on all the variants. So comic book fans, or just anybody who has read Avengers Secret Wars, can see how this is kind of becoming comic accurate. If a bunch of heroes from a bunch of different universes get gathered on one planet, that's Battleworld. Then if the Beyonder shows up and reveals that he is the one who has actually been behind everything, that is extremely comic accurate as well. And then instead of Doom taking the powers of the Beyonder, they just simply have a Kang variant take the powers of the Beyonder, and then he becomes the true big bad villain. If this happens, I think a lot of people are going to be pretty happy with how comic accurate the movie could be. And story-wise, it makes a lot of sense. But let us know what you think about this in the comments down below. Do you like this idea? Do you not like this idea? And who do you think they should get to recast as Kang the Conqueror? Let us know all your thoughts in the comments down below. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to stay up to date on the MCU and enter our giveaway. You can find us on Instagram and Twitter as well. And as always, thank you all so much for watching. Woof woof.